She said the name, and Simon Cowell didn't know it. He leaned forward slightly and waited for the rest. And then she said the next part, 7 more words, quiet and plain. And Simon Cowell went completely still. His face did not change the way faces change when emotion hits. It changed the way faces change when someone is doing the math, when the numbers are coming in, and the sum is larger than they were prepared for. He did not speak, not for a long time, not at all. Another Tuesday night taping. The Pasadena Civic Auditorium, 3,000 people in every seat. Cameras rolling, lights blazing, millions watching from home. Another contestant stepping into the spotlight. Another story beginning. Another Tuesday on America's Got Talent, until, once again, it wasn't. Simon sat at the judge's table in his black shirt, arms crossed, expression locked in its usual careful skepticism. Howie Mandel was turned slightly in his chair. Heidi Klum had her hands folded on the table. Sofia Vergara was watching the stage with her chin tilted up. The audience rustled and settled. Another beginning, another Tuesday. The girl who walked out was 15 years old. She was slim and straight-backed, with the particular composure of someone who has learned through repeated necessity to hold themselves together in rooms full of strangers. She had a single braid pulled over one shoulder and wore a white shirt tucked into dark jeans. She walked to the center of the stage the way people walk when they have decided not to let the size of the room mean anything to them. Her name was Amara Ndiaye. She was from Atlanta, Georgia. Terry Crews came out to meet her. "Good evening. Who do we have?" "Amara Ndiaye," she said. Steady, clear. "Amara, and where are you from?" "Atlanta. How old are you?" 15. The audience applauded. Simon watched her. "What are you going to sing for us tonight, Amara?" She looked at Terry. Then she looked at the judges' table. "I'll tell you in a second," she said. "I need to say something first. I need to say a name, and I need to say why. Because that's the only honest way to start." Terry nodded. The room had already begun to quiet itself the way rooms do when they sense something real approaching. "Who are you singing for tonight?" Terry asked. The question that always opened the door. Amara took a breath. Not a shaky breath. A deliberate one. "My mom left when I was 7, she said. I don't mean she died. I mean, she left. She was there, and then she wasn't, and nobody has been able to tell me exactly where she went, and I stopped waiting to find out." She said it without flinching, without apology. "After that, I was in 4 different placements over 5 years. 4 different houses, 3 different schools. And through every single one of them, there was one person who showed up. Every court date. Every transfer. Every time I moved a garbage bag from one house to another. Her name is Donna Reese. She was my caseworker. She is the person who kept me safe through everything." She paused. "I want to say one more thing. Then I'll sing." Simon waited. "She brought me to a program," Amara said. "A youth arts program in Atlanta, when I was 12. It was the first time I ever sang in front of anyone." She looked directly at Simon. "The program was funded by your production company. That's why I'm standing here. That's the whole chain. Donna, your program. This stage." Simon's arms uncrossed. He leaned forward. He looked at Amara, then at the table, then back at her. His mouth opened once and closed again. He put both hands flat on the surface. He looked at the girl in the spotlight. White shirt, braid over one shoulder. 15 years old. 4 foster placements. 3 schools. 1 woman showing up every time. And a voice nobody had heard yet. He could not speak. Howie Mandel sat completely still. Heidi Klum brought both hands to her lips. Sofia Vergara looked at Simon, and then at Amara, and then back at Simon. Terry Crews stood at the side of the stage with his hands at his sides and did not say a word. 3,000 people held their breath. To understand what happened next, you need to understand what happened 8 years before it. The year was 2017. Amara Ndiaye was 7 years old, and her mother, a woman named Celestine, stopped coming home. Not all at once. The way it happened was gradual, then total. First the nights she didn't return. Then the weekends. Then the welfare check that found Amara alone for the 3rd time in 2 weeks. The call that followed. The system that opened up and took her in, with paperwork and process, and the best intentions of people with too many cases and not enough hours. Donna Reese had worked in child welfare for Fulton County for 22 years when Amara's file landed on her desk. She was 50 years old. She had a caseload that would exhaust most people to describe. She carried it with the methodical persistence of someone who has stopped counting the hours and simply does the work in front of her. She had seen files like Amara's before. She had seen what happened to children when a file was managed well and what happened when it wasn't. She had decided, years ago, that the difference was often one person who chose not to treat a child like a unit of service. She met Amara on a Wednesday afternoon at the first placement. Amara was sitting on a plastic chair in the hallway with a black garbage bag containing everything she owned resting against her legs. She was 7 years old, and she was not crying. She was watching the hallway with the careful, measuring attention of someone trying to figure out the rules of a new place very quickly. Donna sat down beside her. She did not rush. She did not start with forms or questions or the language of the office. She asked Amara what she liked. Amara said she liked birds. She had a book about birds at home. She wondered if anyone would get it. Donna went back to the apartment and got the book. That was the beginning. What followed was 5 years of Donna Reese appearing at every juncture that mattered. She was there when the first placement ended. She was there when the second one was arranged. She drove Amara to the enrollment meeting at the new school after the 3rd move. Walked her to the front office. Waited until Amara was through the door before she left. She called every week. She remembered the birds. She brought Amara a field guide for her 10th birthday, wrapped in paper she had done herself. She was not required to do any of this beyond the minimum. The minimum was the paperwork, the check-ins, the court appearances. The minimum was enough to keep the file in good standing. What Donna did was not the minimum. It was the thing that lives on the other side of professional obligation. In the territory that only opens when a person decides the child in front of them is not a case to be closed, but a person to be accompanied. In 2019, Donna heard about a youth arts initiative being piloted in Atlanta, a partnership between a regional arts organization and a television production company seeking community investment credits. She put 6 children from her current caseload into the Saturday program. She drove the van herself on the first day because the scheduled driver called in sick. She stayed to watch the session because she had the time, and because Amara was 12 and did not know anyone there. Donna had learned that Amara steadied when there was a familiar face in the room. The session leader asked if anyone wanted to try singing. Amara raised her hand before she had decided to. Donna watched from the back of the room. She watched the session leader's face change when Amara opened her mouth. She watched the other children go quiet. She drove home afterward and sat in her car in the parking lot for a few minutes before going inside. She called the program and enrolled Amara for the full year. Simon Cowell's production company had contributed to the arts initiative as part of a portfolio of regional partnerships, approved in a single meeting, one line item in a spreadsheet that also contained 14 other programs. He had never been to Atlanta for it. He had never known a child's name who attended it. He had not thought about it since the tax credit was processed. He was thinking about it now. He was thinking about the distance between a number on a spreadsheet and a 15-year-old girl standing in a spotlight. He was thinking about the fact that the distance had been bridged entirely by one woman, a Fulton County caseworker named Donna Reese, who drove a van when the driver called in sick and stayed to watch a 12-year-old raise her hand. He thought the chain was astonishing. He thought it was also the most ordinary thing in the world. He didn't know which of those two things was more true. And he couldn't speak until he figured it out. And he never quite figured it out. Now 3,000 people were waiting, and Simon Cowell had both hands flat on the table and nothing to say. Terry looked at Amara. "Is she here tonight?" he asked. "Donna?" Amara nodded. "She didn't want to come," she said. "I made her," the smallest edge of a smile. "She's in the audience. I'm going to ask her to stand up after I sing. She doesn't know that part yet." The audience laughed, softly, warmly, the laugh of 3,000 people who have just fallen in love with a 15-year-old. Simon looked at Amara. His jaw was tight, his eyes were bright. He pressed his lips together. "Sing," he said. "One word." That was all he had. Share this story if it found you, and subscribe so you never miss moments like these. Amara Ndiaye nodded once. She turned to face the room. She closed her eyes. She stood there for one breath, 2, 3, 4, longer than you would expect, long enough that the silence became a presence in itself. And then she sang. She sang something unexpected. Not a power ballad, not a showstopper. A quiet song, almost a lullaby, the kind that has to be close to your ear to work properly, and yet somehow she made it fill the Pasadena Civic Auditorium from the floor to the rafters, the kind of voice that doesn't push. It arrives. It occupies a room without forcing anything. The room rearranges itself around it. 3,000 people stop whatever they were doing inside their own heads and simply listen. She sang every word to the back wall. She did not perform. She reported. She was 15 years old. 4 houses, 3 schools, 1 mother who disappeared. She was here. She was singing. And the song said all of that, without saying any of it. The last note left her mouth and moved through the room and reached the back wall and dissolved into the silence. Nobody moved. Then all 4 judges reached forward at the same moment and pressed their buzzers. All 4, simultaneously, without speaking, without looking at each other. Just all 4 hands going forward at once, the way people move when there is only one right answer and everyone knows it. Gold paper fell from the ceiling. Amara opened her eyes. She looked at the 4 golden lights on the panel. She looked out at the audience. She looked at the 3rd row left section, where a 58-year-old Fulton County caseworker in a gray cardigan was sitting with her hands folded in her lap. "Donna," Amara said into the microphone. Not loud, just clearly. "Stand up." A pause. Nothing. Then, slowly, Donna Reese stood. She stood like someone not accustomed to being seen, the way people stand when they have spent their whole career making sure other people are all right, and have never quite asked who was watching out for them. She stood up straight and looked at the stage. 15 feet of air and spotlight between her and the girl she had driven to enrollment meetings and court dates and Saturday arts programs and every juncture that mattered. 3,000 people gave her a standing ovation she hadn't asked for and couldn't have stopped. Howie Mandel pointed at her. Heidi Klum was crying. Sofa Vergara pressed both hands to her heart. Simon Cowell looked at Donna Reese in the 3rd row and held up one hand. The quietest possible acknowledgement. Not applause. Not a wave, just a hand raised briefly. The way you acknowledge a debt you cannot fully repay and are not going to pretend otherwise. 3 months before the taping, Amara Ndiaye's adoption was finalized. Her name, legally, is now Amara Ndiaye Reese. Donna did not tell the producers this. She did not tell anyone connected to the show. She filled out the standard background form when Amara submitted her audition application, listed herself as guardian, and left it at that. Simon's team found out when they were preparing the contestant profile. They did not put it in the intro package. They passed the information to Simon before the taping. He read it in his dressing room. He sat with it for a while. He went out and did his job. He did not stop being moved by it when the cameras were rolling. Some things don't behave the way you plan. Donna Reese still works for Fulton County. Full caseload. She has not reduced it. On Saturday mornings, she drives Amara to voice lessons in a reliable sedan that now has new tires. Simon's team replaced them the week after the episode aired. Before anyone thought to ask, she did not mention the tires to anyone. Donna Reese did not keep Amara safe because it was her job. She did her job because it was one way to keep Amara safe. There is a difference, and Amara Ndiaye Reese understands it, and now so does everyone who was in that room on that Tuesday. Donna didn't just keep her safe through everything. She took her home. That was always where it was going. Donna just had to wait for the paperwork to catch up with what was already true.